The suns of Zeta-9 were setting, casting long shadows across the dusty plains of the alien world. Dr. Zixtor wiped his brow, his tentacles glistening with sweat in the fading light. He had been digging for cycles, and finally, his efforts were paying off. "Over here," he called out, his voice filled with excitement. "I think we found something big." His team of archaeologists hurried over, their various appendages working in perfect harmony as they cleared away the last of the debris. As the dust settled, they all fell silent, staring in awe at what lay before them. It was a ship, but not just any ship. This was something beyond their wildest imaginations. Its sleek lines and massive size spoke of technology far beyond anything they had ever encountered. The ship's hull gleamed in the dying light, seemingly untouched by the eons it had spent buried beneath the planet's surface. Dr. Zixtor's assistant, a young Blobian named Gloop, oozed forward. What is it?" he asked, his gelatinous form quivering with excitement. The doctor's eyes narrowed as he studied the strange symbols etched into the ship's side. It's human," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. A ripple of surprise went through the team. Humans were known throughout the galaxy, of course, but they were considered a young, primitive species. The idea that they could have created something like this seemed impossible. As the team began to set up lights and scanning equipment, word of their discovery spread quickly. Within hours, the site was swarming with scientists, engineers, and curious onlookers from a dozen different species. Admiral Krogath of the Galactic Council arrived the next day, his massive form dwarfing the archaeologists as he surveyed the scene. "Impressive," he rumbled, his four eyes blinking in sequence. "But surely this can't be of human origin. Perhaps they simply found it and claimed it as their own." Dr. Zixtor shook his head. "No, Admiral. Our scans are conclusive. This ship was built by human hands, though it uses technology far beyond anything we've seen from them, or anyone else, for that matter." The Admiral snorted, a sound like grinding rocks. "Impossible. The humans are barely out of their Stone Age. They can't even travel faster than light without our help." As if to prove his point, a small human delegation arrived at that moment, their tiny shuttle looking like a toy next to the massive excavation site. The humans emerged, their faces hidden behind protective suits that seemed almost comically primitive to the assembled aliens. "Greetings," said the lead human, his voice tinny through his suit's speakers. "We're here to claim our property." Admiral Krogath let out a booming laugh, and soon the entire crowd was roaring with mirth. The idea that these tiny, fragile creatures could have any connection to the magnificent ship before them seemed utterly ludicrous. "Oh, that's rich," the Admiral chuckled, wiping a tear from one of his eyes. "Run along, little humans. This is clearly beyond your understanding." But the humans didn't move. They stood their ground, looking up at the towering aliens without a hint of fear or doubt in their posture. "You don't understand," the human leader said calmly. "This ship is ours. It was built by our ancestors, and we've come to reclaim it." The laughter died down, replaced by a tense silence. Dr. Zixtor looked from the humans to the ship and back again, his mind racing. Could it be possible? Could these seemingly primitive beings really be the heirs to such advanced technology? As the suns of Zeta-9 finally dipped below the horizon, casting the massive ship in shadow, one thing became clear. The galaxy as they knew it was about to change forever. The discovery of this ancient human warship wasn't just an archaeological find. It was the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. And as the humans stood firm in the face of alien disbelief, it was clear that this chapter would be full of surprises. The relic wasn't just a piece of the past. It was a key to the future, and humanity held that key firmly in its grasp. The galaxy was at peace, or so everyone thought. In the bustling spaceport of Centauri Prime, beings from 100 different worlds mingled, traded, and shared stories. The air was filled with a cacophony of languages and the scent of exotic foods. It was a testament to the unity and prosperity that had reigned for centuries. But in the shadows, something sinister was brewing. On the far edge of known space, a lone scout ship drifted silently. Its crew, the reptilian Zarkons, were known for their warlike nature, but even they were unprepared for what they saw. A massive fleet of unknown origin appeared out of nowhere. Ships as black as the void itself, with designs that defied conventional physics. Before the Zarkon scout could send a warning, it was vaporized in a flash of sickly green light. The invasion had begun. News of the attack spread quickly. At first, it was dismissed as a random act of piracy, but then reports started flooding in from all corners of the galaxy. Entire systems were going dark. Colonies were being wiped out, and the enemy was advancing at an alarming rate. In the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, representatives from every major race gathered in emergency session. The atmosphere was tense, filled with fear and uncertainty. Admiral Krogath, his usual bravado replaced by grim determination, addressed the assembly. "We face an unprecedented threat," he rumbled. "These invaders, whoever they are, possess technology far beyond our own. They've already decimated our outer defenses." A holographic display in the center of the chamber showed the enemy's progress. Red dots representing fallen worlds spread like a plague across the galactic map. "What about the Forge worlds?" asked the Arcturian ambassador, her crystalline form shimmering with anxiety. "Surely our most advanced weapons can stop them." Admiral Krogath shook his head. "The Forge worlds of Epsilon Eridani fell 2 cycles ago. Their defenses, the strongest in known space, lasted less than an hour." A collective gasp went through the chamber. If the legendary Forge worlds had fallen so easily, what hope did anyone else have? As if to underscore the direness of the situation, an aide rushed in, whispering urgently to the admiral. Krogath's 4 eyes widened in shock. "We've just lost contact with the hive mind of the Xendri," he announced, his voice heavy. 5 trillion souls, gone in an instant. The chamber erupted into chaos. The Xendri were one of the oldest and most powerful races in the galaxy. Their vast psychic network spanned thousands of worlds. If they had fallen, it meant the enemy was truly unstoppable. In the midst of the panic, a small figure stood up. It was the human representative, dwarfed by the alien beings around him, but his voice cut through the noise with surprising authority. "We may have a solution," he said calmly. All eyes turned to him, a mix of desperation and skepticism on alien faces. "The ship you discovered," the human continued, "the one you all laughed at. It's not just a relic, it's a weapon. The most powerful warship ever created." Admiral Krogath scoffed, but there was a hint of hope in his voice. "That old thing. Even if it worked, how could one ship stand against an entire invasion fleet?" The human smiled, a glint of something ancient and powerful in his eyes. "You'd be surprised what humanity is capable of when pushed to the brink. We've kept the ship's true capabilities secret for generations, waiting for a moment like this." As he spoke, another hologram appeared, showing the excavation site on Zeta 9. The massive ship was rising from the ground, engines glowing with an otherworldly light. "Humanity's vengeance is awakening," the human said. "And with it, the fate of the galaxy will be decided." The chamber fell silent, all eyes fixed on the image of the rising ship. In that moment, as an unstoppable enemy bore down on them, the galaxy found its hope in the most unlikely of places, a human relic that might just turn the tide of war. The threat was real, more terrifying than anything the galaxy had ever faced. But for the first time since the invasion began, there was a glimmer of hope. The stage was set for an epic confrontation, with the fate of every living being hanging in the balance. The excavation site on Zeta 9 was a hive of activity. Alien scientists scurried about, their instruments beeping and whirring as they tried to unravel the mysteries of the ancient human warship. Despite their best efforts, the ship remained stubbornly silent, its secrets locked away behind impenetrable barriers. Dr. Sixtor stood before the massive hull, his tentacles twitching with frustration. "It's no use," he muttered. "We've tried every trick in the book, but we can't even open a single door." Beside him, Admiral Krogath growled, his patience wearing thin. "We don't have time for this. The enemy fleet grows closer by the hour." As if on cue, a commotion erupted at the edge of the site. A small group of humans had arrived, dressed in simple spacesuits that looked positively archaic compared to the advanced alien tech surrounding them. The leader of the human group, a woman with graying hair and steely eyes, stepped forward. "I'm Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We're here to activate our ship." Admiral Krogath let out a booming laugh. "You? Activate this relic? Don't be absurd. Our best scientists have been working on it for days without success." Captain Chen smiled, a glint of amusement in her eyes. "With all due respect, Admiral, you don't know what you're dealing with. This ship, humanity's vengeance, was built by our ancestors at the height of our technological prowess." She turned to her team and nodded. They spread out around the ship, each taking up position at specific points along its hull. "What you see as a relic," Chen continued, "is actually the most advanced piece of technology in the galaxy. Its systems are genetically locked to human DNA." The aliens watched in disbelief as the humans placed their hands on the ship's hull. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a low hum that quickly rose to a thunderous roar, the ship came to life. Lights flickered on across its vast surface. Panels slid open, revealing weapon systems that made the alien observers gasp in awe. The very air seemed to crackle with energy. Captain Chen turned back to the stunned Admiral. "You see, Admiral, we humans have a long memory. Our ancestors knew that one day we might face a threat that could destroy everything. So they built this ship and others like it, hiding them across the galaxy." As she spoke, holographic displays sprang to life around them, showing star charts and battle plans of mind-boggling complexity. "For generations," Chen continued, "select families have guarded the secret of these ships. We've waited, watched, and prepared. And now, when the galaxy needs us most, we're ready to fight." Admiral Krogath's jaw dropped open. But you're just humans. Your technology, your ships, they're so primitive." Chen's expression hardened. "What you've seen of humanity is just a facade, Admiral. A carefully crafted illusion to keep our true capabilities hidden. We knew that if the galaxy saw our real strength, we'd be seen as a threat." She gestured to the ship. "This, Admiral, is the real face of humanity, and it's the galaxy's best hope for survival." As if to underscore her words, the ship's engines roared to life, lifting the massive vessel effortlessly off the ground. The assembled aliens stumbled back, shielding their eyes from the brilliant glare. Captain Chen and her team walked towards the now open main hatch. She paused at the entrance, looking back at the awestruck crowd. "We'll need volunteers to join us," she said. "This ship was designed to be crewed by humans, but we can adapt. Anyone willing to fight for the galaxy's survival is welcome aboard." For a moment, there was silence. Then, hesitantly at first, but with growing confidence, aliens of all species began to step forward. As the mixed crew of humans and aliens boarded humanity's vengeance, a new sense of hope spread through the gathered crowd. The ship that had been dismissed as a relic was now their greatest asset in the fight against the invaders. The human factor, long underestimated, was about to change the course of galactic history. The interior of humanity's vengeance was a marvel to behold. As Captain Sarah Chen led the mixed crew of humans and aliens through its vast corridors, even the most skeptical among them couldn't help but be awed. Dr. Zixtor, his tentacles waving excitedly, scanned everything in sight. "Incredible," he exclaimed. "The technology here it's beyond anything I've ever seen." Admiral Krogath, who had insisted on joining the crew, grumbled. "Impressive, yes. But can it fight?" Captain Chen smiled enigmatically. "Oh, it can fight all right. You're about to see what this relic can really do." They reached the bridge, a massive chamber filled with holographic displays and control stations that seemed to respond to mere thought. Chen took her place in the captain's chair, which molded itself to her form. "All right, people," she announced, her voice carrying an unmistakable note of command. "Let's wake this giant up. Stations, everyone." The crew scrambled to their positions. Humans confidently manned the primary stations, while alien volunteers watched in fascination, ready to assist. "Main power, online," reported Chen's second-in-command, a young man named Alex. Instantly, the ship hummed to life. Lights pulsed along its hull, and a deep thrumming filled the air. "Weapons systems, online," called out another crew member. "My God, Captain, the firepower we have here." Chen nodded grimly. "We'll need every bit of it." "Navigation, plot a course to intercept the enemy fleet." As the ship began to rise, breaking free of Zeta-9's gravity with ease, alarms suddenly blared. "Captain," shouted the sensor operator, a Blobian named Gloop. "Enemy scouts detected. They found us." Chen's eyes narrowed. So much for a subtle approach. "All right, time to show them what we can do. Tactical, prepare main cannon for demonstration." Outside, 3 sleek black ships appeared, their designs as alien as they were menacing. They fired green energy beams lancing towards humanity's vengeance. "Shield holding at 100%, reported Alex, a note of surprise in his voice. "Their weapons, they're not even scratching us." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Our turn. Fire main cannon, low power. Let's not vaporize them just yet." A beam of pure white energy shot from humanity's vengeance. It struck one of the enemy scouts, which simply ceased to exist. Silence fell on the bridge. Even Chen looked shocked. That was low power?" Admiral Krogath asked, his voice a whisper. Before Chen could respond, the sensor array lit up again. "Captain, the entire enemy fleet is changing course. They're heading straight for us." Chen's expression hardened. "Good, let them come. All hands. Battle stations. This is what humanity's vengeance was built for." As the crew prepared for battle, the ship's AI came fully online. A holographic figure appeared beside Chen, looking like an ancient warrior. "Greetings, Captain," the AI said. "I am the spirit of humanity's vengeance. Our creators programmed me with the combined tactical knowledge of Earth's greatest military minds. I stand ready to assist you in battle." Chen nodded. "Glad to have you with us. We're going to need every advantage we can get." The AI's eyes gleamed. "The enemy fleet approaches. Shall we show them why it was a mistake to threaten humanity and its allies?" "Oh yes," Chen replied, a fierce grin spreading across her face. "Let's remind the galaxy why humans were once the most feared species in the universe." As humanity's vengeance accelerated towards the oncoming armada, its weapons charged and its crew ready, the true awakening of the giant was at hand. The battle that would decide the fate of the galaxy was about to begin, with humanity's long-hidden power finally unleashed. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath as the two forces drew closer. The giant was awake, and the universe would never be the same again. The vastness of space was shattered by bursts of energy as humanity's vengeance clashed with the invading fleet. What had seemed like an impossible battle now unfolded as an epic showdown. Captain Sarah Chen's voice rang out clear and confident on the bridge. "Evasive maneuvers. Bring us about for another pass." The massive ship moved with impossible grace, dodging enemy fire while unleashing devastation upon the alien armada. Each shot from humanity's vengeance destroyed multiple enemy vessels, leaving trails of debris in its wake. Admiral Krogath watched in awe from his station. "By the cosmic void," he muttered, "I've never seen anything like this." The ship's eye, a ghostly figure of an ancient warrior, stood beside Chen. "Captain, the enemy is adapting. They're concentrating their fire on our port side." Chen nodded grimly. Reroute auxiliary power to port shields. Tactical. Prepare the Nova Burst. As the words left her mouth, a massive enemy dreadnought emerged from the chaos, its size dwarfing even humanity's vengeance. It fired a beam of sickly green energy that rocked the entire ship. "Direct hit," shouted Alex, Chen's second-in-command. "Port shields down to 60%. Chen gritted her teeth. "Now, tactical. Fire the Nova Burst." A blinding flash erupted from humanity's vengeance, expanding outward in a sphere of pure energy. When it faded, a quarter of the enemy fleet was simply gone, including the massive dreadnought. A cheer went up from the crew, but it was short-lived. More enemy ships poured in, seemingly endless in number. "How many of them are there?" Dr. Zixtor asked, his tentacles trembling. The AI's voice was grim. "At current count, we are outnumbered 10,000 to 1. A hush fell over the bridge. Even with their advanced technology, the odds seemed insurmountable. Chen stood up, her eyes blazing with determination. "Listen up, everyone. I know the odds look bad. But remember, humanity has faced worse. We've stared into the abyss before and come out stronger. This ship, this crew, we are the galaxy's last hope. And we will not fail." Her words ignited a fire in the crew. Humans and aliens alike straightened at their stations, ready to fight to the last. "Helm, take us into the heart of their fleet," Chen commanded. "Weapons, fire at will. Let's show these invaders why you don't mess with humanity or its allies." Humanity's vengeance plunged into the thick of battle. Its weapons blazed, each shot taking out multiple enemy ships. But the invaders kept coming, their black ships swarming like angry insects. Alarms blared as enemy fire struck home again and again. "Shields at 30%. Alex reported. "We can't take much more of this." Chen's mind raced. They needed something big, something unexpected. Her eyes fell on the ship's eye. "You said you have the tactical knowledge of Earth's greatest minds. What would they do in this situation?" The AI's eyes glowed. "There is one option, but it's risky. We could overload the ship's core, creating a controlled quantum implosion. It would wipe out most of the enemy fleet. But what?" Chen demanded. "But it would leave us powerless for several minutes. We'd be defenseless." Chen looked out at the sea of enemy ships, then back at her brave crew. It was a huge gamble, but they were out of options. "Do it," she ordered. The AI nodded and began the sequence. Energy built up within humanity's vengeance, the ship shuddering under the strain. "Brace for impact," Chen shouted. A wave of quantum energy exploded outward from the ship. Enemy vessels disintegrated by the hundreds, then thousands. But as the energy faded, humanity's vengeance went dark, drifting helplessly in space. As emergency power slowly came back online, the crew held their breath. Had it worked, or had they just signed their own death warrant? Through the viewport, they saw the remnants of the enemy fleet, greatly reduced but still outnumbering them. And they were regrouping, preparing for a final assault. The battle wasn't over. David had struck a mighty blow against Goliath, but the giant was wounded, not defeated. As humanity's vengeance floated in the void, powerless and vulnerable, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The bridge of humanity's vengeance was eerily quiet. Emergency lights cast a dim red glow over the tense faces of the crew. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the viewport, watching the remaining enemy ships regroup. "Status report," she demanded. Her voice steadied despite the dire situation. Alex, his console flickering with minimal power, responded. "Main systems are still offline. We have basic life support and minimal shields. Weapons are down. Estimated time to full power restoration: 7 minutes. Chen's jaw tightened. "And how long until the enemy is in firing range?" The AI's holographic form buzzed with static as it answered. "At their current speed, 5 minutes, Captain." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. They were so close to victory, yet now faced almost certain defeat. Suddenly, Admiral Krogath's deep voice broke the silence. "Captain Chen, may I send a transmission?" Chen turned, surprised. "To whom?" "Admiral." "To every ship, every planet, every space station in range," Krogath replied, his 4 eyes gleaming with determination. "The galaxy needs to see this. They need to know what humanity has done for them." Understanding dawned on Chen's face. She nodded. "Do it." Krogath's clawed fingers flew over the communication panel. His voice, filled with a passion none had heard before, boomed across the stars. "Attention, beings of the galaxy. This is Admiral Krogath of the Galactic Council. We stand at the brink of annihilation, yet hope remains. A single ship, crewed by humans and allies, has done what entire fleets could not. They have brought the invaders to their knees." As he spoke, screens across the galaxy lit up with images of the battle. Billions watched in awe as humanity's vengeance, a ship they had dismissed as a relic, decimated the seemingly invincible enemy fleet. Krogath continued, his voice rising. "For too long, we underestimated humanity. We mocked their technology, dismissed their potential. But in our darkest hour, they alone had the power to fight back. Now I call upon every able ship, every warrior with a pulse. Join us. The battle is not over, but for the first time, victory is within our grasp." As his words echoed across space, something miraculous began to happen. Ships of all sizes and designs began appearing on the sensors. From sleek Arcturian cruisers to bulky Zarkon battleships, the races of the galaxy were answering the call. Dr. Zixtor, his tentacles waving excitedly, shouted, "Captain, we're picking up thousands of ships entering the system." Chen watched in amazement as a ragtag fleet of allies formed around humanity's vengeance. On the main view screen, she could see escape pods being launched from the incoming ships, heading towards them. "They're sending us reinforcements," Alex said, his voice filled with wonder. The AI chimed in, "Captain, I'm detecting volunteer crews from 17 different species approaching. They're offering to help man our systems." Chen felt a lump in her throat. This was more than just a battle now. It was a galactic unity the likes of which had never been seen before. As the new crew members were quickly integrated, humanity's vengeance hummed back to life. Systems came online faster than expected, powered by the combined efforts of a united galaxy. Just as the enemy fleet came into firing range, Chen gave the order. "All power to weapons. Fire everything we've got." Humanity's vengeance roared back into action, its weapons blazing with renewed fury. But this time, it wasn't alone. Thousands of ships, large and small, joined the attack. The tide of battle shifted dramatically as the once unstoppable invaders found themselves overwhelmed. From the bridge, Chen watched with pride as human ingenuity and alien determination combined into an unstoppable force. The enemy, faced with the united might of the galaxy, began to retreat. As cheers erupted across the bridge and throughout the Allied fleet, Chen allowed herself a small smile. This was more than just a turning point in the battle. It was a new dawn for the entire galaxy. The message was clear. Humanity, once laughed at, had become the catalyst for the greatest alliance the universe had ever seen. And together, they were unstoppable. The stars twinkled peacefully in the vast expanse of space, a stark contrast to the chaos that had engulfed the galaxy mere days ago. The combined fleet of the united galactic races hung in orbit around Earth, a planet that had once been considered unremarkable, but now stood as a symbol of hope and resilience. On the bridge of humanity's vengeance, Captain Sarah Chen stood tall, her eyes scanning the sea of ships outside the viewport. Alien vessels of all shapes and sizes floated alongside sleek human crafts, a sight that would have been unimaginable just a week earlier. "Captain," Alex called out, a smile playing on his lips, "the Galactic Council is ready for you." Chen nodded, taking a deep breath. "Well, let's not keep them waiting." As she made her way to the conference room, Chen couldn't help but marvel at the changes aboard her ship. Aliens of various species worked alongside humans at every station, Their diverse forms a testament to the new era of cooperation. The conference room doors slid open, revealing a gathering of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Admiral Krogath stood at the head of the table, his massive form dwarfing the others. Yet there was a newfound respect in his eyes as he gazed at Chen. "Captain Chen," he rumbled, "on behalf of the Galactic Council, I thank you and your crew for your invaluable service." Chen inclined her head. "The honor was ours, Admiral, but the victory belongs to all of us." Dr. Zixtor, his tentacles waving excitedly, chimed in, "Indeed. The way your ship's technology integrated with our various systems was simply marvelous. The potential for advancement is limitless." The Arcturian ambassador, her crystalline form shimmering, added, "We owe humanity a great debt. Your ancestors' foresight in creating these ships saved us all." Chen raised a hand, her expression serious. "While we appreciate your gratitude, we must address the elephant in the room. Humanity hid its true capabilities from the galaxy for generations. We understand if this breach of trust has consequences." A murmur ran through the assembled leaders. Admiral Krogath stepped forward, his voice solemn. "We have discussed this at length, Captain. While the deception was concerning, your actions have more than proven humanity's commitment to galactic peace." He paused, his four eyes blinking in sequence. "Therefore, we would like to formally invite Earth to take a permanent seat on the Galactic Council." A shocked silence fell over the room. Chen's eyes widened, the magnitude of the offer sinking in. "Furthermore," Krogath continued, "we propose a galaxy-wide initiative to combine our technologies. The integration of human ingenuity with the diverse knowledge of other races could usher in an unprecedented era of progress." Chen felt a lump in her throat. This was more than just acceptance, it was an embrace of everything humanity had to offer. "We accept," she said, her voice firm. "And in the spirit of this new era, we will share all our advanced technology. No more secrets." The room erupted in cheers and applause. As the noise died down, the ship's AI materialized, its holographic form standing tall. "If I may," it said, its voice echoing with the wisdom of ages, "I have accessed records from Earth's ancient history. There's a quote that seems fitting for this moment. The day the power of love overrules the love of power, the world will know peace." Chen smiled. "It seems that day has finally come, not just for Earth, but for the entire galaxy." As the meeting concluded and plans were made for the future, Chen couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity, once dismissed as primitive, had not only saved the galaxy but had also united it in a way never seen before. Outside, stars continued their eternal dance, witnessing the dawn of a new era. An era where the combined strength of all races would face any challenge that the vast, mysterious universe might throw their way. And at the heart of it all was the spirit of humanity, resilient, innovative, and finally, unequivocally part of the galactic family. The Relic had roared to life, and in doing so, had birthed a future brighter than anyone could have imagined.